Good evening already, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Jan Roberts here from South Africa. I'm back again, and yet another episode on self-care. And if you were with me yesterday, you would have heard me talk a little bit into mindfulness. Now, like most of the other subjects I'm talking about, these are so big that I hope that some of them really speak into you in the way that you want to really take better care of yourself. But mindfulness is another one of those big subjects you can probably do a whole day and then some about. So I already split it up into two sessions, yesterday and today. And today I'll talk into how and why to practice mindfulness. Now, it's a term that's been bandied about a fair bit, but it is something that, yeah, if you really think about it, how can you be more mindful? Mindful of what exactly? So it's very important. That's why I split it up into. But today I will go into some of the how-tos and the whys of mindfulness, and as I said, this is a huge and very interesting subject for me, and I hope that you'll also delve into it more, because the few examples I have given you yesterday and the ones I will give you today just won't do it justice. But just to give you some more insights into self-care, some more insight into some of the areas that, hey, I can do that. I can start practicing that today. And everything you can start applying today, or even tomorrow, but better today, because we also know that tomorrow never comes. But every part of it that you start to apply today will make you take care of yourself better, and will make you feel healthier, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Because have you ever known that if you've eaten too much or something and you're just blobbing, but you feel tired and you feel lethargic and all that, and if you do that often enough, how bad do you really feel for long enough? So that it's just a simple example, but mindfulness is a skill that can be learned like any other. There is nothing at all mysterious about it. It's like learning to ride a bike, cook a good meal, or play a musical instrument. You start with easy practice and progress as you improve. Now, you take classes from people who know more about it and are more experienced than you are. And you connect with others who are also interested in it, so you have a kind of built-in support group to keep you going when you really at times get a little bit discouraged. Now, however, it is certain that if, and I will say when, you keep practicing, you will dedicate, and if you will dedicate the necessary time to this amazing skill, your mindfulness will definitely improve. So, what's the practice? Well, the practice of mindfulness is the repetitive act of directing attention to only one thing in this one moment. I'm going to say that again. Mindfulness is the practice of mindfulness is the repetitive act of directing attention to only one thing in this one moment. So, if you're brand new to mindfulness, you might well say to yourself, well, I can already do that. Well, great for you. Are you actually doing it? Or, why on earth would I even do that? Well, the first thing is that it's a lot harder than it sounds. Simple is not always easy, like many of these things. I mean, it's all, even the second one after I told you what self-care is all about when I talked into eating habits and all that. It's simple to decide to change your diet. But is it easy? We're creatures of habits, and we keep doing certain things, and that's why I also talked into habits, what they are and how we can change them. But the reason for you to do this kind of practice is to gain control of your attention. Now that might be something, whoa. But you might have heard of the following quote, whatever you think about, you bring about. Now that talks into the power of attraction and mind power, which I talked into a few sessions ago. Now, just stop for a moment and think about the following sentence. Whatever your attention is on, that's what life is for you at any given moment. So whatever you focus on, that is where your attention is on. And it's often not necessarily what you should be focusing on, to really enjoy every part of it. An example is that If you're working from home, which many people are now, and you've decided to take a break from your work so you can make yourself a cup of coffee. Now, as you are preparing your cup of coffee, you boil the kettle, but you keep thinking about the challenge you are having with one of your many projects. You don't even get a break because your mind is not on making yourself that cup of coffee. Your mind is constantly engaged on your work and the things you have to do, people you must call, any problems you have to solve. You might have a physical break, but mentally you're still at work. Now, I hope that makes a bit of sense. It's a simple example, but how often does that happen to you? How often do you keep thinking and concentrating about your work, whether it is making a cup of coffee, a lunch, dinner, or even until later in the evening, sometimes causing you to have sleepless nights? How often do you miss some amazing moments in life that you should be pondering over, appreciating, or even celebrating? But you were too busy. Yes, you were there, you were in the room physically, but mentally you were still in another place altogether, possibly work, possibly at a project or on the site, but you certainly weren't there mentally. Now, when do you ever give yourself permission to be mindful, to be fully present in what you do, to fully live in the moment? Now, the repetitive act of directing your attention to only one thing is this one moment. This means training your mind to pay attention to what you choose to pay attention to instead of letting your mind hijack you. I hope that makes some sense. Well, is your mind sometimes like a television that's always on, but you just can't find the flipping remote? You have access to an unlimited number of channels, but because you don't control the remote, your untrained mind keeps playing the same painful, scary, or enraging show over and over again. Have you ever burned yourself on the stove or hot water or some other kind of accident? Have you ever forgotten something important or talked with another person in person or on the phone, but have no clue what they said because you just were not paying attention? It's happened to me. But if you trained your mind to pay attention, then you've found the remote control. To teach your mind to pay attention, you practice paying attention over and over again. But you have to start now. See, in coaching, we actually learned this a long time ago, and it was very valuable for me. I did 2 years of coaching training, and then I did another complete training course in the John Maxwell team with him, our dear friend and mentor Christian Simpson, who's trained over 40,000 coaches. But the whole coaching program, the idea was that when you have a client in front of you, and now I have coaching clients, and when I have a client in front of me, I have to really not concentrate, but I have to be present, be there in the moment, and really listen to what he or she says, or what they don't say, which is even more important and surprising, what the kind of things you pick up when you're there all the time. Now, you should be there all the time anyway, whether it's with your spouse, with your children, with the things you do at work. Yes, you'll do it for work a lot of the time. And even at work, your mind sometimes wanders. Even young people in school and education system, how often have you looked out at a window and your mind wanders away and you haven't got a clue what goes on? Now, it happens to us all, but to be aware of when it happens, to be aware when we really should be paying more attention and become mindful, because it has, I said already, it's all kinds of health benefits as well. Now, a simple example how to be mindful is that you can find yourself a quiet place where you can sit with your feet on the floor, and you do not have to sit cross-legged and all kinds of fancy hand maneuvers to sit there. All you need is to use a chair that allows you to sit straight. Now, not straight as in army straight, no, just straight but relaxed. And just place your hands on your legs, on your lap. Then relax for a minute, and then start to breathe in slowly through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. In, out. But not through your shoulders, because when you breathe in, you should breathe in through your nose and let it go all the way into your stomach. See, so many people, even the breathing makes them tense because you see, and it's short and shallow in the chest, which is very bad for you, really. So, while you do this, you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. You should actually initially concentrate on your breathing, as this will stop your mind wandering. Slowly in and slowly out. And if your mind wanders, and that will happen especially when you start this kind of practice, just pull it back. Start thinking about breathing in slowly, breathing out slowly again. And in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when you breathe out, make a slight AH, not a ha, but an AH. Now, you can already hear whether you're tense or not, because if you're tense and you breathe out, it goes something like But if you the more relaxed you become, the more this becomes a steady sound. And it doesn't matter how long it is, but do this for about 5 minutes and feel the difference it makes to you already. You can do this as often as you want during the day, but find a quiet place. You don't need a dark room, you don't need to sit cross-legged, but quiet place, relax your shoulders, hands on your lap, and start just breathing in and breathing out. Again, remember to first concentrate on your breathing, and if anything else happens, make it go away. Eventually you don't even focus on your breathing anymore, you just focus on being quiet, relaxed. Now, there are many ways to practice mindfulness, and it does not mean you have to sit quietly in a dark room for hours a day. It's not about reaching a state where you are happy all the time, where your troubles have completely disappeared. I mean, they might, even in the breathing, they might disappear temporarily, and you might get more relaxed and you feel a little bit better to focus again and to go into action and to battle, if you like. But however, people who practice mindfulness will tell you that they get better at enduring pain. They get better at solving problems. They get better at not creating misery for themselves. And they get better at participating fully in those moments of life that are joyful. Because we miss so many of those moments when we're somewhere else. See, the practice of mindfulness requires you to be intentional so that you can create a more purposeful and healthy life. Like many of the areas of self-care, it takes awareness followed by further investigation by everyone for themselves to discover how it can benefit you personally. This is merely the beginning, and I hope you will do your research and implement mindfulness in your life immediately. There has never been a better time to start looking after yourself than today, right now. What can you do right now? Are you ready to go and prepare a meal? Are you ready to just sit down and maybe you can do 5 or 10, 15, 20 minutes of exercises? Are you ready to go to sleep and maybe you can do this before you go to sleep? Or you can even lie flat and start doing this. So even before you go to sleep, switch everything off, do exactly the same. Breathe in, breathe out. And I will wish you an amazing evening. I will see you somewhere around the same time tomorrow. My name is Jan Roberts from Key Leadership Institute in South Africa. Take care.